Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the TTG Invitational Series here on the PC platform. We've had a break for a week due to some other real-life sporting events taking priority, where a Spanish team did quite well, and it's very possible that we're going to have a Spanish team do very well tonight. FVR stand just a few points possibly away from taking glory here in the TTG Esports Invitational. Can they do it tonight at the Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari, round 4 out of 5? The Imola Grand Prix. If we take a look at the standings, you can see that FVR are 88 points clear, managed to get a double podium last time out, with Modesto Mania finishing in second place and Ismail Fassi getting his first podium in his first appearance in this championship with third place. It was looking pretty good for ETA. Georges Adair qualified on pole position, but an issue with his wheel meant he plummeted down the order outside of the points. And you can see there is a 41-point gap now between FVR and ET8. If FVR are by the end of the night 45 points clear, they will win the championship. They will take the €100 prize. You can see the rest of the standings there still fairly close further back as well. Team Shazoo, Intrepid and ADRT, just 1 point between all them. TTG, WR, not too far back either. And then Consistent, XL and Skyzers a bit further down the order. So they'll certainly be hoping that they manage to get some good results in tonight. If we take a look at the driver lineups then and see which drivers are going to be testing themselves around this historic circuit. Once again, it is Matteo De Campo, who did think he'd got a podium last time around, but unfortunately for him, there was a penalty removal for Modesto Mania, so that dropped Matteo down to 4th. He is back with Ayub Khan tonight. It is Georges Adair trying to recover from the glitchy wheel, which does seem to be a bit of a McLaren speciality. I have seen it happen to other drivers on this game, and they all seem to have been in a McLaren, so he'll be hoping that doesn't affect him tonight. He's alongside Elias Saros. We've got Maestro Hoffy and QKS that is going to be for CRV. Hugo Rodriguez and Alex Santana racing for Skyzers as they look to get their first points since round number 1 of the season. Gregory Belletti and Alberto Barros are racing for ADRT. Of course, Lenny Pipinta had an absolutely dominant race last time around, flew away by about 10 seconds, so great performance from him. Yona Martins and Drake Dempsey are racing for WOR. Yere Dobson and Fritzin for Shazoo. Noel Carman and Jay Vahahe for the Intrepid Racing team as they look to possibly secure best of the rest behind FVR and ET8. And who knows, maybe even finish ahead of ET8. Ismail Fassi and Nicola Flindberg are the drivers tasked with bringing home that championship for FVR. And it is Kango Khan and our JW Videos who will be racing in the Haas for XL. And the circuit they're racing around, I hear you ask. As we've said, the Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari, also known as the Imola track, 4.909 kilometres, 19 turns, 9 to the right, 10 to the left, and that one DRS zone in towards turn 1. Exceedingly powerful indeed. I think we are going to see a lot of overtakes around there. Shouldn't be too long before the drivers are ready for the session. I believe we have got everyone in. There is a few qualifying bans and qualifying penalties to talk about at the moment, so it is a qualifying ban for one of the ET8 drivers, so not sure which one will be missing from the lobby. Just we'll try and have a look for you guys at the moment to see which one is missing. That might give us an idea who is not here. I believe we've actually got Marcus Towler for ET8, so that is going to be Georges Adair, then, who will not be taking part for this session for ET8. We've also got 10 place winner penalties, 1 for CRV and 1 for Intrepid as well, so some of their drivers will be dropping down the order. So we're waiting to just see who is going to be racing here. I think we have got everyone right now, so we just wait and see for the lobby to get underway then. As we said, it is going to be 90 drivers for the qualifying session. The way things work here, it is pretty similar to what we're used to across all league racing now. Of course, an 18-minute qualifying session, half-distance race, so that was going to be 32 laps. Nearly every single race I have commentated on around here, there has been a safety car, and it is very possible that we are going to see. It's a circuit where you have a lot of mistakes. Let's put it that way. It's a very punishing track, a very old school track, first used in Formula 1 in 1980. Of course, a circuit that has been tinged with tragedy in 1994. San Marino Grand Prix will always be known for that. So there's a bit of an argument going on about who is going to be racing here tonight, in case we are going to be taking a bit longer. So yeah, hopefully it shouldn't be too long. You can see the circuits there. If the championship doesn't get done tonight, then of course it is going to be the standard championship ender that we're going to be seeing. Brazil, Interlagos, very shortly indeed. And in fact, now I think we have got an extra driver in the session. So, yeah, so hopefully it shouldn't be too long before we get underway. I think there's just a bit of confusion as to which FBR driver is going to be the one racing tonight. They seem to have got about 3 drivers in the chat. We've got plenty of support here for Ayub, who has joined me in the commentary box on a couple of occasions. He was meant to be racing in Saudi Arabia, but is making his first appearance then in the championship tonight. And I believe we are now at the accepted 90 drivers, so I believe it should not be too far before we are able to get away then. I think now we should be able to get ourselves nice and ready and just see how things go in this session. Top 10, unlike in what was real life in 2021, but like real life now, everyone does get that free choice of tyre strategy. So that is going to be good news for everyone. They'll be able to take advantage of that free choice of strategy and just see how things can go around here. The alternate strategy, as always, usually tends to be extremely powerful around a lot of circuits, and we're hoping, well, I think a lot of these drivers will be hoping that it ends up being extremely powerful tonight. I can see the drivers are now starting to get ready, so it should not be too long before we are underway with this qualifying session. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to be taking the victory. Can FBR secure the championship tonight? That is going to be, I think, the big question, the $1 million question. Will FBR claim that championship tonight, or will they be thwarted by ET8, and will things have to go on to the final round? If the gap is 45 or more, FBR are going to be taking that championship title. It looks like everyone is in. We'll be able to get qualifying underway very shortly. Like we've already said, it is a fast circuit. It is a fearsome circuit. Plenty of corners where you can lose a lot of time. Tamburello proving to be a very tricky turn number 1. DRS exceptionally powerful on the run down toward, well, it's actually turn number 2, as anyone who's seen the latest F1 Grow the Grid will know. That is actually turn number 2. Turn number 1 is a very straightforward left-hand flat-out king that I think even me and my Ford Focus could manage to do flat out. So shouldn't be an issue for any one of these in the dry in Formula 1 cars. Who knows, if we end up getting a bit of rain, could start to see a few problems and could see possibly a few drivers just struggle. But fingers crossed that does not happen here tonight. Fingers crossed we don't have anyone having any issues. Drivers now just finalising what tyres they're going to have for qualifying, even though they don't really have to change anything. And also, let's not forget, because we do have a lobby restart, you can have a different strategy and setup for qualifying than you can the race. You can afford to just go for something that tiny bit riskier in this qualifying session and then go for something a bit more brave and a bit more bold at the end. It should not be too long before we are, as we said, able to get away. I believe unfortunately one of the drivers has disconnected from the session, so hopefully he's able to rejoin. And as we said, hopefully it's not too long before we are able to get qualifying underway in earnest and see ourselves some proper good action here on the circuit as we head out there at the moment. And you can see, fairly quiet. To be honest, fairly quiet. I think what we expected. No one really bombing it out there on the track at the moment. No one really too keen of heading out there right at the start. I think everyone quite wisely just waiting. It is an extremely short track, as we mentioned. You can easily see times in the 1-minute 10s around this circuit. And I believe we are going to get some rain in the race as well, which could certainly spice things up and make it just that tad more difficult for a few more of these drivers. But we have got someone who's gone out on track first, and it's going to be one of the Shizou drivers with that exquisite helmet design for the Slovenian, Jerne Dovzan, heading his way out on the circuit first. A few looking to use the medium tyres. With the fresh tyre choice for the race, I'll be surprised if anyone does that, especially seeing as we are expecting to get a bit of rain in the race. So whether it's going to rain the entire way through, I have done a race around here in full wet conditions that lasted the entire race distance. I don't want to undersell it, but it was not the most entertaining evening of action we've had, and certainly I hope things end up a tiny bit better than now. And of course, that was a bit of a weird thing going off on screen then, as Jerne seemed to teleport halfway across, which is never what you want to be seeing. Of course, this circuit, Imola, very close to the Ferrari factory, also very close to the Alfa Tauri, or what was formerly known as Minardi factory as well, about 10 miles away in Faenza. Maranello, Imola is closer to Maranello than Monza, so the Tifosi will be here in support. And we've got a message here, ET8 only one driver. They have got a qualifying ban. I believe we will be seeing Georges Nadir attempting, well, how well he attempts it, we'll have to wait and see. He will be going for a last to first, I think, in this race. And because they only have one driver, ET8, FBR are looking pretty good at the moment. I know Ismail's disconnected from the session. He'll be hoping he's able to get back in. And as if by magic, he does rejoin. So let's join Yene Dovzan then on the lap of the Imola circuit. 4.909 kilometres. That little king left at turn number 1 as you then stray over to the right-hand side of the track. Pick your braking point for the Tamburello chicane. Left, right, and left again. Hugging over that curve on the right-hand side. Making sure to not put a wheel onto the gravel as you now head into turns 5 and 6 at Villeneuve. A lot quicker for the first part. You then slow down for second. Ratosa hairpin is a possible overtaking opportunity if you're brave in the race. More often than not, though, you won't see drivers attempt to move there. Now, up the hill, slightly blind, over this right-hand kink as you get ready for Piratella. Stay over to the right-hand side on the entry. Clip that apex. Clipped it a bit too much and just invalidated his lap. So we'll go on board with Noel Coleman, the intrepid driver. Again, they're hoping for some good job in the championship. They are tied in that third place at the moment, so have definitely got a big positive chance of finishing third in the championship. But reminder, there is no prizes for finishing third here. It is a win or bust for these teams. €100 for the winner, and that is it. The winner takes it all, and Noel Coleman taking, certainly taking all the curve on the exit of Aqua Minimali. You are allowed to do that, of course, down through the Variante Bassa, a fearsome chicane. You can hop over the sausage curves a bit more than what Charles Leclerc managed in the 2022 Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, as the Alpine now makes his way down towards the double left-hander at Rivatsa. Again, this is an overtaking opportunity if you are feeling particularly brave in the race. Gregory Balatti goes fastest of everyone on a 1:17.542 at the moment, and we will see what Noel Coleman can do as he heads towards the line. A much more representative lap time of a 1:14.510 for Noel Coleman. He's the first man to set a valid time in the session, as straight away that is smashed by Mr. Drake Dempsey for WOR. Not had the championship they'd have hoped for so far. Not looking too bad around here. Dempsey fastest, Jona Martin's second at the moment. And we'll see what Jay Vahahi can do. He's one of the new signings then for the Intrepid squad. They have lost Vincent Nyquist recently to Shazoo, but with the Wolves in this championship, once you've driven for one team, that is it for the season. So Shazoo, as much as they'd like to possibly use him for the rest of the season, are not going to be able to do. We'll see what Jay can do as he crosses the line. He comes into 4th place. Great lap by Fritzin. He's sussed himself up into 3rd. Ayub Khan, he's invalidated his lap on a set of mediums. Alberto's lap on a set of mediums. That is interesting to see. Very surprised that anyone has actually gone out for a set of mediums. In the race, they'll have free choice, and we are expected to get some rain. Whether it's going to rain all the way through, whether it's going to only rain for a certain bit, remains to be seen. But it is Nicola Flindberg now. He's making his way round with double left-hander at Rivatsa. Crucial that you get a good exit out of the second part. A very long pit lane around this track. You will be punished if you have to make multiple pit stops. Nicholas Lindberg crosses the line in what was 7th. It now goes into 8th place as Balatti improves across the line. So it is Dempsey, Martins, Fritzin, your top 3, with about 13 minutes to go in this session. Now, a very fast driver that I'm sure plenty recognise from challengers from other leagues on the PlayStation platform. Ismail Fassi finished in 3rd last time out at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, just behind his teammate who originally had a penalty, but again was able to get that one removed. Kango Khan making sure that he stays well out of the way, coming out to the Variante Bassa. That is a tricky chicane. You will be seeing drivers, even if it stays dry in the race, I reckon we'll be seeing a few hop over that chicane. As Fassi just makes his way around the final couple of corners, heading towards the finish line. We'll see what the Alpha Tauri can do. His teammate in 10th place at the moment, and I think that is much more like what we were expected to see from FBR in this session, just judging by what we've seen from them in this very short season. Ismail Fassi goes up into 5th place then at the moment on a 1:13.922, less than 1.5 tenths of a second off pole position. Things looking exceptionally close at the moment as Ayub's making, massive wobble coming out of the final corner. I was about to say he's making his way to finish his first valid lap. I think realised with that mistake it wasn't going to be a decent lap anyway, so might as well dive it into the pits and just see what happens later on as both of the Red Bull cars coming into the pits there, so that will lose you a bit of time. He's one of 4 drivers yet to set a time at the moment. Maestro Hoffy, one of them for the Aston Martin for Consistent Racing Esports. We saw Yene Dovzan Harmony and Validation, and a team that's rock bottom, unfortunately, for them in the championship at the moment, and will be hoping to score only their second points finish of the season, is Skyzers Esports. So they've got Hugo Rodriguez and Alex Santana racing for them this time around. I think we've seen Alex a couple of times so far this season. I'm not sure, and I'm sure someone in the chat will correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure we've actually seen Hugo at any point this season, but we're certainly seeing him now as he's about to make his first one down towards the Tamburello chicane. The Alfa Romeo of one of the Addictos cars, making sure to get well out of the way. As Hugo just making his way around then the right-hander at the second part of the Villeneuve. 24-0 for that first sector. Obviously, we've not got a delta for him as this is his first run at the moment. Time's looking exceptionally close. Top 13 drivers separated by less than a second at the moment. Then a bit of a gap back to RJW and Alberto Barros, but I'd expect that gap to close down. I expect some of these cars that are heading out there now on track to possibly fill in that gap somewhere. Is Hugo making his way up the hill towards the Variante Bassa chicane. We'll see how much curb he dares to take of that. Just about as much as you'd want to take on the entry. Playing it fairly safe on the exit there, on both the inside and the outside curves. So I feel like there's more time to be gained from the Williams if he wants to later on. And he might just be a bit unhappy about Maestro Hoffy's placement there in the Aston Martin. Definitely not doing a favour for the Williams man, who does cross the line in 14th. May well make an argument that he was held up towards the end of that lap. And if he was, could be a possible qualifying ban coming the way of the Aston Martin. Noel Coleman has shut himself up into 7th, having done 3 laps on that set of the soft tyres. Obviously, doesn't have to care about the fact that he might need to use them later on, but still. An interesting tactic indeed, as Hoffy about a 10 faster than what we saw from the Williams of Rodriguez. Sky is just currently 13th for 14th on the grid. It is now Dempsey, Martins, Towler, your top 3. Those drivers separated by 1/10 of a second, with half the session still remaining. Aqua Minimali, always a difficult track for the drivers to get right, especially with no assist for turning and braking, really testing the limits of those Pirelli tyres. As Maestro makes his way down towards Rivazza through the... Ooh, not an ideal one for the first part of the Rivazza there. Just getting a bit greedy, and again on the exit, having to fight that car a bit. Certainly less than an ideal one. Gets himself up into 7th place, which I'd say is quite surprising, given how much he was sliding all over the place towards the end of that lap. I think I would have expected him to be a bit further back, if we're being honest. As Ayub just runs extremely deep, actually, towards the exit of Tozer. You can just hear how much speed was being scrubbed off that car as he locked the front brakes up in towards Tozer. His teammate Mattia currently in 7th at the moment, and I think Mattia has actually scored all the points for TTG so far this season, as Drake Dempsey goes fastest of everyone. Jonas Martins was improving, and in fact dived his way in towards the pit, so he's clearly not happy with that one. We are starting to see a few more decent times coming now. Dempsey, 1/4 of a second faster than everyone, has really shot himself up the order. Fritzin heading towards the finish line. What's it going to be for him now? He gets himself up into 2nd place. Ferrari starting to find a bit of pace at their home circuit, which is not a bad place to be doing it whatsoever. Ayub heads towards the line. His first run of the session, only enough to displace Alberto Barros just behind him. And we've got a couple of Intrepid cars now heading towards the finish line. Jay gets himself up into 7th. 7th man to get into the 113s. About 3.5 tenths off a pole position at the moment. It's only good enough for 7th on the grid. So, seeing some solid performances coming in for a few different drivers. FVR not having it all their own way at the moment. I say that as Ismail Fassi crosses the line instantly and goes 3 tenths of a second faster than his personal best. Puts himself into 2nd. His teammate is in 8th. If they finish there, and the ET8 driver of Marcus Towler stays in 5th, and the other one doesn't get any points, which is a big if, that would be good enough for them to claim the championship. So, might be one to keep an eye on later on, just how all these drivers are doing. So, we've had a spinner there. That's one of the CRV cars has had a big moment there. That is QKS trying to get himself back onto the circuit. I feel like he just needs to go for it and trust that the game will make him invisible and he can get away with that one. And Thankfully, he is now facing back in the right direction. Hopefully, Alberto Barros wasn't too distracted. Not having the best of qualifyings, not having the best of runs through Pivotello. Not the first car we've seen have a moment through there. I certainly don't think he will be the last one in the Alfa Romeo. Another Italian team. Base might be in Switzerland, but Alfa Romeo, I don't think there's any doubt that they are an Italian marquee, of course, in close partnership with the Ferrari team as Jürgen Dovzan heads towards the line, hugging the right-hand side. Thought for a second he was going to go into the pits. Good job for him, he didn't. That lap is good enough to get him in third place. Just 6 thousandths of a second ahead of his teammate. In that battle for best of the best, in that battle for third place at the moment, Shazoo, you know, are on top of that. They're only 1 point ahead of ADRT. They're only 1 point ahead of Intrepid. TTG and WOR within a handful of points as well. Getting third and fourth would be a mighty climb towards that third place, and still, you never know. ET8 might have to just watch over their shoulder. The sole ET8 driver that's out on track at the moment is Marcus Towler, and he's less than 10% on his ERS. You can see that red light flashing on the back of the car. He might have been about half a tenth up coming out of Sector 2. I'll be surprised if he's managed to maintain that. I'll be surprised if we don't see him diving towards the pits. In fact, he did find a bit more time, so just what I know. On occasion, shoots himself up into fifth there, does Marcus Towler. 4:44 remaining in this session then. Dempsey, Fassi, Dovzan are your top 3 drivers then, separated by 98 thousandths of a second. I believe the majority of the drivers are making their way either back to the pits or are just sitting in the pits at the moment. One who's still pushing out, trying to get skies as further for the order. They're 17 and 18th. Unfortunately, imitating the real-life performances of the Williams at the moment and finding themselves sort of languished at the back. Santana comes across the line, finds a big time improvement. Half a second. Doesn't normally only gain you 3 places in a F1 qualifying session. I'm very surprised indeed to see that big of a margin. Not really work out too much. Balati's in 7th for ADRT. Again, it's been a wondrous race last time out from Lenny Pinter. Got them a massive 25 points. Outside of that, they had an 8th and 9th at the Belgian Grand Prix with this man on... Well, not sorry, this man, with Alberto Barros finishing in 17th place. This is the first time we've seen Gregory Balati race for ADRT this season, and he's had a bit of a moment coming out of Towler there. Just backing off that one, just burning a bit of fuel. He's well with the last laps now for the field. I'll be very surprised if we see anyone else headed... Right, no, anyone else who's not already out there. You know, I'll be surprised if we see anyone then come into the pits. I think we'll see everyone just stay out there, set as many laps as they can. Of course, you do. Every 10 kilos of fuel can cost you something like 3 or 4 tenths of a second. It's more wear on the tyres when you're braking, more wear through steering, acceleration, all these things for drivers have got to think of. You only put enough fuel in for 1 lap though, and you get that 1 lap long, you can be left looking very silly indeed, as the 2 Alfa Romeos are very close to each other at the moment. So I think there might just be a bit of slipstreaming going on between the 2 of them here. Babos on the back of Balati, very close to the back of him, so whether he's going to hold him up and whether this is going to actually cost Balati in the dirty air, we'll wait and see as the lap goes on. We'll see if it's an improvement in Sector 1 at the moment, and Gregory just diving well out of the way, so clearly no interest on setting a fast run on this occasion. Bit wild coming through the entry of Villeneuve there for Babos. Is still a 10th up. I think with a slipstream you would have expected him to gain possibly even, you know, 2 tenths heading towards a quarter of a second. Doesn't need to find too much to get ahead of RJW. And it is now the top 16 drivers separated by a second as he becomes another victim of Pivotello. A lot of drivers are finding it very tricky to just keep it clean at that part of the circuit. Thankfully for Nicola Flindberg, he's kept it clean so far. We'll see whether he becomes another victim of Pivotello. That's just a bit wide on the entry, not really attacking the inside curve as much as he would have liked, and having a couple of stabs at the first apex of Aqua Minerale. This has been a scrappy start to the lap, and I think he's aware of that and just quickly bails off that one. He's got enough time to get another run in, but not ideal at this moment in the final couple of minutes of qualifying to be trying to find a bit more time out there, to be trying to find somehow to get yourself a better lap in. Maestro Hoffy doesn't need too much of a better lap, but that one is going to be ruined, and he is going to be heading straight back towards the pits because that Once again, Aqua Minerale, we said it's going to be one of the corners to watch out for. Pivotello as well, we've seen in validations. Not many drivers having issues at Varianti Bassa at the moment. Could still be one later on, though, where a few of the cars do start to struggle. Noel Coleman having by far the cleanest run we've seen coming through Aqua Minerale through the last few minutes. And he's a quarter of a second up. That would get him on the edge of the top 10 for Intrepid. That yellow flag just from one of the TTG cars to be backing well out of the way. I believe that was AM car with Shaver Harhe also just skipping his way out in 8th place at the moment. He's going to have one final lap to do, and this is probably going to be it for Noel Carman. In the second, Intrepid Alpine, can he get into the 1 minute 13s? Just about 1:13.900. He shoots himself now in towards 8th place. Gregory Balatti has retired from the session as Drake Dempsey goes faster still on a 1:13.369. He has led since the start of the session. No one really looks like they are going to get close to catching him at the moment. We've got a Haas car heading towards the line. That would be RJW Videos, who failed to improve. His teammate not having a fun time at the moment. What is Ismail Fazzi doing on what is going to be his last lap in this session? Checkered flag is out then. He needs a quarter of a second and change if he wants to get himself onto pole position and give FBR the best chance of taking the championship. And that did not look like the greatest run through the first part of Rivatsa. The Spaniard heads towards the line. It is an improvement. It is not enough, though, for second place. And everything is looking golden at the moment for Drake Dempsey on top of the standings. Mateo de Camber, he's improving, just has a bit of a skid. And that is going to be his lap over. Can't see him finding too much more time now. There's not many drivers out there on the circuit that look like they're going to find some improvements. We've had a spin from an Alfa Romeo towards the end of the lap. That is going to be Alberto Barros, who has got things all wrong. Gets very close to Mateo, who tries to improve towards the line, and he still gets himself up towards the top 10. We're going to have nothing from him. The Alpines are coming up. Jay Harke could get himself towards the top 5 here. In the end, gets himself in towards 8th place. Knocks his teammate down towards 10th. Those two split by Balatti. Who else have we got heading towards the line now? I think one of the Ferraris. Fritzin is improving. Knocks himself ahead of his teammate into 3rd. But it is Drake Dempsey, with a barnstorming run throughout the session, takes pole position by just under a 10th of a second. Ismail Fazzi in 2nd place. Things looking good for FBR to possibly claim the championship tonight. ET8 only 6, but of course, one of their drivers, we'll wait and see who, will be serving a qualifying ban as our pole sitter gets wheeled back into the garage after what was certainly a job well done indeed for Drake Dempsey. He is the fastest in this qualifying session. As we just wait for the standings to come off the screen there, and there you can see Drake Dempsey, fastest of everyone on a 1:13.369. Ismail Fazzi in 2nd place then, just 800ths of a second behind, and Shizu 2nd row of the grid with Fritzin and Yerno Dovzan. Yono Martins in 5th. WOR definitely got a chance to bump themselves further up the order. Marcus Towler, the sole ET8 driver in that qualifying session, was 6th, and it was Lindberg, Verhake, Balatti and Carlman. De Campo starts 11th alongside Maestro Hoffy. Then it'll be Kango Con, Alex Sanchez, QKS, RJW Videos, Alberto Barros, Hugo Rodriguez, and Ayub Khan was the final qualifier in that session. So the lobby will be reset now. A chance for everyone to, get their fresh tyres up, see what sort of things they could do. And you can all let me know in the chat, who do you think is going to claim the title? Is it going to be enough tonight for FBR to get the job done? Judging by qualifying, they're not looking bad whatsoever. You'd be a brave man to bet against them, judging by that qualifying session. 2nd place for Ismail Fazzi, with Lindberg up there. Marcus Towler having to do it on his own, but we are hearing there might be a chance of rain in the race. So we'll see whether we do get any of that rain. If we do, that is going to just spice things, well, I say it's going to spice things up a bit. The rain will only spice things up if it stays wet for not the entire race. If we get rain all the way through, it does not lead, as I'm sure we've all seen from many races over the years. Look at Belgium 2021. I think we've seen it happen in plenty of league races as well. Heavy rain does not maketh an interesting race. You do get a few problems. Everyone just seems to struggle to get the overtakes done when you've got wet weather throughout the entire race. And it can be exceedingly awkward and exceedingly difficult for anyone to make some moves, really. With no DRS around here in towards turn number 1, it can be exceptionally hard and can just cause a few problems for the drivers. But fingers crossed we don't get any of that one. today. Some good luck for the commentators. And I'll say commentators, it is just me in the chat. Thank you very much for that one, Ties. Hopefully you're all enjoying this race. As we're saying, should not be long before we are able to get 32 laps underway. Free tyre choice for everyone. I think will be good news for a lot of these drivers. They won't mind whatsoever having a fresh set of tyres and sort of having free reign of what they can do for this session. And it is going to be Drake Dempsey on pole position then from Ismail Fassi. Those are the two drivers that are going to be fighting it out towards the front of the order. We'll see how much they can fight towards the front of the order as well. Can WR get their first win of the season? So far, it has been the FVR, ETH show. They've always been up there or thereabouts. FVR have had at least one car in the top two in every single race so far. That is not a bad place to be in. And if they do that tonight, ETH's going to need something special to win this title. Possibly they could keep it going into the next round. But if FVR just get one of their cars in the top two, it's going to make things exceptionally difficult for our main rivals, ETH. Of course, Shazoo are still in with a chance. Mathematically, Skyzers are still in with a chance. If they end up winning the championship, we've probably had the craziest final couple of races that League Racing has possibly ever seen here on the PC platform. If you don't already follow the TTG_Esports channel, make sure to click that follow button. Make sure to also check out the affiliated channel as well of the _Masters League. We'll be heading over there for plenty of TTML action on the new game and other League Racing action as well. And of course here on the TTG Esports channel next week, you can see at 9 PM Central European time, so 8 PM British summer time, and we do actually have summers in Britain. It is going to be the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. Most of the drivers are now in the session, which is great to see. Quicker everyone gets in does mean the quicker, of course, we should be able to get this one underway. I think it is both of the McLarens that we are waiting for at the moment. So both of the ET8 drivers. It was only a qualifying ban, not a race ban for the second ET8 car. They should be able to get themselves in the session and just get everything ready to what they'll be hoping is a final race to just sort themselves up the order and put themselves into a real good place at the moment. 41 points behind, needs to be within 44 by the end of, well, if they're within 44 and FVR win the race, then it is championship over as well. They're within 43, no matter what happens, they still have a mathematical chance of taking this towards the final round at the Brazilian circuit. Realistically, they could do with some good luck. They could do with some bit of luck, a bit of fortune here to get themselves towards the top of the order, especially with the fact that one of their cars has got a qualifying ban, so that is going to cause them some issues. That one of them is starting towards the back of the grid. We have got now one of the ET8 cars in the session, so hopefully we won't be able to deal with my voice and we'll be able to get this underway again. Who do you think is going to take the race victory? Which team do you think is going to be the one taking the victory in the championship? FVR in a prime position to take the title, to take the €100 prize in the first ever TTG Esports Invitational. You'll have to keep up with the Twitter page at TT Gaming Esports to see whether there's going to be more news on the PC side. I know building a pretty handy PC team themselves, as you can see, but the fact that Mateo nearly got a podium at the last race at Jeddah, only in the end getting cost because of a penalty removal for other drivers. Imola, overtaking opportunities. Hopefully we don't get a wet race. We'll wait and see what the weather is. I did believe it was meant to be wet in the original lobby, but unlike some other leagues, they do keep the settings on dynamic once they change to the lobby. They don't fix the weather to what things would have been in the normal one, so everyone's sort of coming in here with a bit of a stab in the dark as to what weather conditions we're going to see. This could be good news, this could be bad news for a lot of drivers. Could definitely cause a few awkward problems and make things fairly difficult for a few if we do get some rain later on, as we have got 20 drivers in the session. Now it is up to Noel to just get that lobby ready and get the grid order sorted, and we'll be able to get racing. And a reminder, it is Drake Dempsey on pole position then for WOR. Alongside him, it's going to be Ismail Fazzi driving for our championship leaders. It's an all Shizou third row of the grid. Well, second row of the grid, third and fourth for Fritzin and Yerna Dovsav respectively. And it is Jona Martens making it 2 Mercedes in the top 5, 2 Ferraris in the top 5, a chance for Shizou and WOR to shoot themselves up the order, possibly even ahead of ETH, whose one objective is to survive. Their one hope is to get towards the top of the order and just see if they can hang in towards Brazil, towards that final round of the season at a circuit where there is definitely more than a tiny possibility of us seeing some rain. All 20 drivers are in. Noel will be getting the lobby ready as we speak, and then we'll be able to get the grid ready. And then we'll be able to get 32 laps of action around what I think is a circuit that we're all glad to see back in Formula 1. So my question to the many dozens of viewers that we've got watching us at the moment, it is truly appreciated. What circuit would you like to see return to Formula 1 that we haven't got at the moment? We're hearing rumours that F1 2022 is going to have some DLC. We might get Hanoi back on that, a circuit which might be famous for appearing on 2 F1 games and never actually appearing on the Formula 1 calendar. We might even get Hockenheim, a classic track. Would you want Portimao to make multiple repeats as that is being kept on the game? Would you like to see possibly the Valencia Street Circuit make a return? Nürburgring, Mangicourt, so many historic circuits. That's just in recent minds. If we go further back, Jerez, Brands Hatch, Hawama. So many great Formula 1 circuits that they've raced at that have made their way over the years. But I think we're all happy with the tracks that we've got at the moment. Everyone has got the signal to ready up. So in a couple of minutes, we should be able to get this underway. This little bit of waiting, this little bit of organising, anticipation for the drivers, just making sure that their wheels are working properly after what happened to Georges Nadir last week for ET8 on loan, of course, from Visceral Racing. The team he has now joined and does race for quite successfully, I think it's got to be said, in some of the series. I'll all be hoping that they don't have any of those issues. Around here, A, there's not a lot of runoff area at some points of the circuit, and B, where there is runoff area, it's usually grass, it's usually gravel. You are going to lose chunks of time and could easily find yourself spinning around, overheating your tyres, and then you're just in that bit of a catch-22 situation where you're going to be having all sorts of trouble, and you are going to be having all sorts of problems to getting things nicely sorted towards the end of the race, of course. Will be an intriguing one to see what strategies the drivers go for. You normally get a mix around here of some drivers trying to go for a set of the hard tyres or the mediums when they go for their standard one-stop strategy. Because of the length of the pit lane, you do lose about 28-30 seconds around here because of just the sheer length of the pit. That limiter line starting very early on indeed. There could well be some penalties. There's going to be a big penalty if you have to pit multiple times. Because it starts early, don't be surprised if we get some pit lane speeding penalties. That's all I can say for that one. We all know drivers are quite keen sometimes on that pit lane speed limit. Well, perhaps a bit too not keen on the pit lane speed limiter and can cause themselves all sorts of dramas that they could really do without. As we are waiting now, drivers have picked what tyres they wanted. They'll be picking now setups, strategy. Remembering to put the setup on is something that a lot of drivers forget about when we have these lobby resets in between the race and the qualifying session. Has just given everyone a chance to put fresh tyres on. Even those in the top 10 will get that free choice of tyres. They are not bound by what they did in qualifying, which is why you saw everyone, no matter what, going for the softs, even though that was always going to be the way around here. We are still unfortunately waiting. I don't think we should be too far. We'll quickly just grab those standings up for you again for all you lovely ladies and gentlemen that are watching at home. FER are on top then on 88 points. ET8 47. They need to ensure they are within 44 points, possibly. Definitely within 43. And then they will be able to keep the championship alive going into the next round. Shizou in third. Intrepid in fourth. Tied with ADRT at the moment. In fact, add TTG and WOR in there. You've got 5 teams separated by 8 points in the battle for the bronze medal position on the rostrum at the end of the season. Consistent and Excel down there towards the back at the moment on 12 points. In fact, I think Excel, it has been Kango Con who has scored all their points for them. And I think he's hoping he can get a few more points for them tonight. And it is Skyzers down on 1 point at the back of the standings. But there's an opportunity for all that to change, of course, at the one, the only, Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari. First used back in 1980 and has seen many plentiful battles over the years. 4.909 kilometers, 3.050 miles, 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Only the one DRS zone down towards turn number 1 does make things a bit trickier for the drivers. Especially, well, because it's such a powerful DRS zone, it actually makes it quite tricky to defend in towards turn number 1. So, there one of the drivers has now left the session and we are able to get things underway. So, thankfully, it does seem like a few drivers are having a bit of tricky issues joining the session at the start, and that is why we are just having these slight delays in qualifying and the race. You can see the mix of strategies there. Not really too much of a mix. Interesting that FBR have split their strategies between the two of them, perhaps just covering off any danger of safety cars earlier on. Ismail Fassi has gone for a set of the medium tyres. And this man, Nicola Flindberg, has gone for a set of the soft. So he should be lightning at the start. It is quite a hefty run down towards turn number 1. You can see it, well, down towards the first braking zone. I refuse to maintain that that first turn is actually a proper corner. If I could do it flat out in a... if I could do it flat out in a normal car, things are very different indeed. As the grid does seem to be slightly messed up at the moment. I hope things do sort themselves out for this session. Are just waiting to see what could happen at the moment. Yes, enough of that. Well, I'll keep you updated. There are any updates. It just seems like a few drivers have had a few connection issues. But as far as we're aware, we are going to be getting this race on the way. Drake Dempsey for pole position. Ismail Fassi in second place. Fritzin, Dovzan, Martins, Towler, your top 6. Watch out for Lindberg. Starting from 7th place on a fresh set of the soft tyres. They are going to be extremely quick for the first few laps. And he might just have a few problems as the race goes on, of course. Not really the optimal strategy. Barros and Rodriguez also going for that one as the final couple of cars coming into place. Eduardo Hill, can he get himself up the order to give ETA a fighting chance in this championship? As we wait for the lights to come on here at Imola, we've got 3, we've got 4, we've got 5 lights. They go out very quickly and we're underway for the Imola Grand Prix. It is a perfect start for Drake Dempsey, getting away with well then straight away. Nicholas Lindberg's trying to shoot himself up the order in 6th place at the moment. Martins and Dovzan are battling as well, but it is Dempsey, Fassi, Fritzin, Dovzan, Martins, Lindberg, Towler, your top 7 at the moment. Kango Con having some battles in the background as one of the Alpines runs a bit wild there. We've got some side-by-side action behind ADRT and TTG, and that is Alberto Barros using them soft tyres to perfection to move himself up the order, and the two Skyzers cars are having a bit of a swap there. Very nicely done by Rodriguez as there's been a spinner, and that is Gregory Belatti all the way down towards the back of the field for the Addictos Racing team. He is going to, I think, find things quite difficult from that place at the moment. He has got a lot of work to do in this one, but it is Dempsey in the lead of this race. Fassi in second place. Fritzin, Dovzan just held off from Yellow Martins then in those early stages, and Nicholas Lindberg having a bit of a wild one over the curve. Thankfully for him, gets away with it. He knows he needs to make hay while the sun shines. He knows he needs to make some brave moves in these first few laps if this strategy is to work. The more he gets held up, the further down the order he is by the time it comes to the pits, the less well things are going to go for him. And you can see all over the back of Martins at the moment. He's got such a better run coming out of the second Ravazza. And that is going to be as easy as you like. Martins nearly making contact with the rear of the AlphaTauri on that real tyre. Thankfully, it's not simulation damage. Otherwise, that would have certainly caused damage to both cars and possibly a puncture as Shaver Harkey now gets himself up towards 8th place for newly signed content creator for the intrepid Esports team, the George Morgan squad. I'm sure George is going to be watching. They're down in 8th and 16th at the moment as they try and secure that best of the rest spot, of course. Behind FER, who knows, could still catch up to ETH as well, who are in 7th. If we look at the position changes, unsurprisingly, Martins and Towler down 1. Alberto Barros showing how it's done, though, on a set of the soft tyres. The ADRT driver up 9 places at the start of this race. Balletti's gone up 10. QKS, I believe, has disconnected from the session, so won't be seeing anything from him at this moment in time. We're constantly hearing all those different positions were, of course, for the grid penalties at the moment. So Nicola Flindberg sets the fastest lap of the race, which is what you'd be expecting on that set of the soft tyres, and he is trying to make some moves. The issue is, it's going to be DRS next time around, and that just makes things that tiny bit more harder. Nicola Lindberg is in 5th then. He's all over the back of Dovzan at the moment. Dovzan's looking pretty wild. Fritzin up ahead, possibly holding his teammate up. I wonder whether the Shizus would be better off swapping here, because Dovzan looks very racy at the back. We've got a pretty decent length DRS train, 18 cars in it, the 18 that have had normal things happen to them in this race. Everyone else is just finding things rather tough at the moment. Gregory Balletti, obviously with that spin earlier on, probably pushed him out of the order. ADRT going to find it hard for him to get any points, and obviously with QKS seemingly unable to rejoin the session, I'm not sure there's a lot he can do. Dovzan's had a struggle coming out of Variante Bassa, and this is going to be a move then by Nicolas Lindberg down the inside in towards Ravatsa 1, and that is a very nice move from the AlphaTauri driver. Not somewhere where you see moves start that early on, but perhaps not surprising it finished earlier on, given what had happened there with that tyre advantage, as Dovzan all over the back with the DRS, trying to fight. Just nothing he can do at the moment. Can't really get close enough. And this is where the train starts. This is where things could be quite difficult, especially if you're RJW, who's unfortunately for him just dropped off the back of the train. And saying that, no! Contact! Come out in the background, and that is Jonas Martens flying very fast backwards. Thankfully, he's ghosted. Thankfully, he's managed to get himself facing the right direction. And that is Jonas Martens now down in towards 18th. And what has happened to the Shizu drivers? What has happened to the Shizu drivers? I think Fritzin has disconnected from the lobby. Well, 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 that's caused all sorts of chaos. Fritzin has disconnected. That has caught a few of these drivers out, including his teammate, Shizu. Looking good for a podium not so long ago. They're now down in 9th and 13th, and possibly, who knows, possibly by the time Fritzin gets in, he is going to be a long, long way down the order. As that is Yerne Dovzan, who's gone for an issue as well. Jonas Martens has now left the session. What on earth is happening here? Not sure what was going on there, because it looked like Yerne slowed a long way down. So whether the Shizu man's had some technical issues, or he's got his own problems that he's dealing with. Fitzen's unable to get in the session. Yona has rejoined the session. And here we go then. Yerne Dovzan into the pits at the end of lap 4 on this alternate strategy is not what you want to be doing. So this has got to be a set of hard tyres towards the end for the Ferrari driver, but the hards are not a nice set of rubber to go on whatsoever, and it is a new front wing for Yerne Dovzan. I am the only commentator, Fritzin, and I'm not sure I've got you on my friends list, to be honest. As there's certainly some people enjoying this at the moment as they gather their way around the fire pit. Lap number 5 then, Ismail Fassi in the lead at the moment then. Second place is Drake Dempsey, as we are just going to head away for a second and go to a bit of radio comms to see if we can invite anyone back into the session. And apparently it was Jonah just had his Jonah had his own problems there with Shizu, and that is what caused That is what caused their problems. But it's Fassi leading, Dempsey in second place. Lindberg all over the back of Dempsey here. I'm surprised at how well these soft tyres have held on for the first few laps. I think, obviously, the issues that some of the other drivers have had at the moment have really caused some problems. I'm not in charge of the lobby, QKS. All I can possibly suggest is if you add me, Luke E95, the grid was wrong because of grid penalties for CRV and for the other team that dropped themselves down the order. So that was why the grid was corrected, was to take into account the grid penalties that had happened. But if you add Luke E95 on Steam, I might be able to get you back into the session, but you will be a long, long way down the order at the moment. And it is Fassi, Dempsey, Lindberg, your top three drivers at the moment. Marcus Towler in 4th place, Bravos in 5th, and Bravos might have a chance at Towler at the moment. Obviously, Towler's got no DRS at the moment, so who's going to find things quite difficult? And Bravos is still doing a good job on that set of the soft tyres, so this is a good possibility, maybe, if he can get some moves done further up the order. You can see Towler just starting to slide that car all over the place. And this is going to be a run. Are we going to have a run at the front of the field, though? There goes Drake Dempsey into the lead of this race, and Nicholas Lindberg follows through as well. And in fact, there is Bravos down the inside of Marcus Towler. So now we're starting to see a few more moves in these races, and the soft tyres are clearly still working pretty good on that soft shod Alfa Romeo, and pretty good on the soft shod Alfa Tauri as well. 2nd and 4th for those runners, and also the Skysers. With all the chaos that's got on, Hugo Rodriguez and Alex Santana, the team's only had 1 point all season. They are now into 9th and 10th place, so this is a good opportunity for them to catch themselves up the order and possibly get some good points here, especially Santana, who I think is on the better race strategy. Dempsey is back in the lead at the, well, nearly towards the end at lap number 7 as they're still attacking those curbs. I think we're going to see some of the soft runners coming in sooner rather than later. We'll just wait and see how this action is going to work out between these drivers. Has Lindberg going to have enough of a run to get himself off towards turn number 1 and get himself into the lead of this race? You'll see the letterbox opening on the back of the Alfa Tauri because he's within a second. And there we go. Easy as you like then for Nicholas Lindberg. Retakes the lead of this race. And Marcus Towler retaking the move on Alberto Barros as well, as we quickly jump ourselves back towards some radio commentary as we try to get the some of the drivers back in towards this session. I do apologise for this, folks, but as for sole commentator, this is sometimes the life of a sole commentator. These are some of the issues that you've kind of got to deal with at times. But I can tell you there's not a lot changing out there on the circuit at the moment, which you will be, I'm sure, delighted to know about. Things are staying pretty normal and not too much worrying going on as Towler just leads them all the way round towards Aqua Minerale for the 8th time. Now, being split up in that train has really caused their own issues with, obviously, what happened with all the Shizou drivers has really blocked the field up and has really allowed a lot more cars to get away at the front. So this is really in FVR's hands now. They're covered no matter what happens strategically, one on the softs and one on the mediums, and they're sort of fighting Drake Dempsey on their own. They can send Lindberg into the pits whenever he wants. I think soon, though, he's going to be sent back down towards 2nd place, as there we go. Very straightforward. This could be a pattern over the next 24 laps between all these cars. Dempsey leading, Lindberg 2nd, Fassi in 3rd place. Those softs are hanging on better than I thought they would. I thought they would be struggling, if I'm being honest, as there goes Noel Carlman for the Intrepid squad. Gets his way ahead of Maestro Hoffy. Maestro thinks about sending one down the inside into Villeneuve there. Definitely had a better run, but that's a corner. Unless you're fully alongside, you're going to have problems, and you are going to be struggling in quite a big way. Unless you get fully alongside the car in front, as that is Eduardo Heel. We've not spoke about too much, actually, Eduardo. He's worked himself up into 13th with all the chaos and dramas and all the different things that have been going on in this race, as I believe QKS has now been able to rejoin the session. Yeah, there's all sorts going on this one. Gil just trying to stay on the road at the moment. They are starting to catch up to some lap cars, though, are the leaders. So they're not pushing too hard. I know we're seeing them swapping over every single lap, but they're really not pushing massively hard at the moment. You can see that with the ERS on Drake Dempsey. He's still at around 85% as he heads across the finish line. And when you consider we saw Noel Carman flashing the red light on the back of the car, as there goes Lindberg back into the lead. As long as they're doing this, and as long as they're battling not too much at certain parts of the track, that is good for them. They're not holding themselves up. They're not causing themselves any problems, as this might be an indication for the first time that the mediums are looking better. Now Santana has got back ahead of Rodriguez, so we'll see whether the Skyzers cars, can they work together to get themselves only their second points finish of the season. 9th place would be their best finish. They've only had a 10th at Bahrain. As further back, Hoffy and Carman swapped as well. And we're seeing that classic third car in the DRS train really starting to struggle in all of these battles. We're on board with Matteo De Campo. He's just stuck behind Alberto Barros. There's not a lot he can do at the moment. He could really do with hoping that Barros drops further back outside of that all-important 1 second window, and he has just slipped outside of that as they head towards the braking zone of Variante Bassa. All closes up again, so the softs clearly still working pretty good under braking at the moment, but if he stays fully out of that 1 second, could be a sitting duck, and it could be all sorts of problems. As there goes Barros, just lighting up the rear tyres, and there goes our race leader into the pits then. Nicola Flindberg into the pits at the end of lap number 10. No problems whatsoever, getting mediums 22 seconds around this circuit. And you can see Barros, he is not close enough to attack the back of Marcus Towler. And Matteo De Campo just hasn't got the DRS or the ERS to really attack back either. There comes Lindberg heading his way down the pit lane. He is going to drop quite a long way down the back of the order, possibly behind Fritzin. What could have been for this team, eh? What could have been for Shizou in this race? Had such a good start to the race. They now find themselves in 15th and 17th place, a long, long way down the order, and are basically in the need of a miracle if they want to get any sort of points out of this. Such a shame for really just how things have gone for them. I mean, there's Yerne Dovzan just cruising around at the moment. You can see he is in the session, but those hard tyres, not ones you want to be using much, as I think there must have been a bit of a mistake there coming out of Aqua Minerale for Alberto Barros, because Matteo De Campo says thank you very much, I will take that 4th place. You can see how much time he has lost all of a sudden. He's now 2.2 seconds off the back of Marcus Towler. That gap between Marcus and Alberto was only just hovering at around a second, so I think we'll be seeing the Addictox Racing man dive to the right-hand side. There he goes, into the pits. Quite a late decision for him to head into the pit lane, and it will be hard tyres going onto the back of his, and I imagine Rodriguez, and no, actually Rodriguez has stayed out, which is quite surprising. In the lead of the race, though, it is still Drake Dempsey and Ismail Fassi, two drivers to maybe watch for the future. The young American and the young Spaniard. Of course, we saw Drake Dempsey much more experienced on the PC side of things. We've more seen Ismail racing on the PlayStation. He's definitely proved that he is no slouch though. A very quick driver, some might say even robbed of winning some fantastic championships over on the PlayStation platform. But now he's on PC, he wants to test himself across the best. Drake Dempsey is certainly one of the drivers that he'll have to be beating on a regular basis if he wants to have some good success on this platform. They're all still running nice and smoothly at the moment, all really not having too many problems, as Noel Coleman on the back of Hugo Rodriguez. This battle now for 8th, 9th and 10th place, with Eduardo Gil trying to hang on to it as well. He's just sticking in 11th place at the moment. Noel getting a pretty good run here into Ravazza, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to go for the lead of this race. Is this man going to be close enough, though, to go for the lead of this race? Ismail Fassi, I don't think he's too interested at the moment. I think he's quite happy just sticking in 2nd place. Does not seem bothered at this stage to go towards the lead. When we'll see these drivers come in, possibly, I think at the earliest, lap 19, lap 20, put on a set of softs, and then just sprint themselves towards the end of the race. And it should be a very good end to the race indeed. Now that Marcus Towler's got free, we've got a bit more of an interesting battle going on for 4th, 5th and 6th with De Campo, Verhaake and Kango Khan. 7 different cars represented in the top 7 at the moment. This TTG Esports series, even though it is looking at the moment as though FVR would actually not claim the championship as things stand, but we've still got Eduardo, Isma, and Marcus Towler to pit. So FBR, I'd say at the moment, are doing enough to claim the championship, even though it looks like they may be running away with things, winning a 5-race championship with 1 race to go. 7 different teams in the top 7 at the moment. There is pace all over the field, although that is going to cost them. First driver to get a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit violations is Nicola Flindberg. He is pushing hard on those mediums. He's going to be in the net lead of this race. He could probably do with now being a net 3 seconds ahead. You just saw the red light flashing briefly there. He is trying to get onto the back of Fritzin, trying to get onto the back of RJW. Yes, that'll give him the DRS, but what he gains on the straight, he might lose in the corners, is his teammate just doesn't seem able to get close enough to Drake to really do anything at the moment. Isma just happily sitting there in 2nd place, happy to stay behind Marcus Towler, having a lonely run in 3rd. Stays in contact. You never know with all the penalties that could go on at the end. Could still have a say in how this championship goes. But Marcus has just got to keep his head calm at the moment. He's in 3rd place. Maybe be that driver to pit a lap or 2 earlier. Maybe just go for something different on the strategy. And it could all be a lovely, jubbly job for yourself. Could be getting your team still in with a chance of this championship. Eduardo likewise, just gotta be calm. Has gained 11 places after that qualifying ban, of course, for ET8. So that meant they started in 20th place. I know there was some confusion with, I believe, Intrepid and CRE, why they had drivers starting further down the order, but that was due to 10th place grid penalties for previous infringements at the last round. I think QKS must be ruined that. He didn't disconnect from the session. I do apologise for that one. Not quite sure. What has... Not quite sure why that all of a sudden decided the game wanted to go into the pause menu, but we didn't miss too much there. Yeah, they were a bit confused with why they had a different grid order. QKS left the session and then was unable to get in, and that is why he's now down in 19th, battling Jonas Martens a long way down off the back of the field. Here comes Lindberg though, back up the order now. RJW videos unable to react, even with the DRS open. RJW down into 14th, Nicholas Lindberg into 13th. As long as he makes the moves on the straight, that's not going to be too bad for the FBR driver. If he starts having to battle some moves in the corners, yeah, is all I'm going to say. If he starts having to fight in the corners to get some moves done, this is going to be a bit of a tricky situation, and he's going to find things very difficult in the final laps and the final runnings of this race. Ayub Khan running just outside of the points at the moment for TTG. He is in 11th, trying to just stick within the DRS range of Maestro Hoffy. Oh, that is not an ideal run out of Aquaman of Arlen. We'll see the gap, which was about 7/8 of a second. Just briefly go back up to above that 1 second point. He's not having the best of times here, I don't think, Ayub. Just finding it a bit tough. In what is a very fast division, there are some very fast drivers here. And we're seeing that at the moment. What we're also seeing is no matter how fast he is in a straight line, Fassi is just not able to get close enough to Dempsey. So, whether that Mercedes is running a faster setup in a straight line just to be quick on purpose down the straight and just to keep himself far enough ahead by the end, or whether Isma's not bothering to go for the move. We'll wait and see. Move further down the order though, as Lindberg gets ahead of Fritzin. Noel Coleman has got himself up into the top 7 for Intrepid, so they're just sneaking their way back into things. Gained 11 places, as has Eduardo Hill. They're our biggest winners. Unsurprisingly, Martin's our biggest loser after what happened earlier on. And Dovzan and Fritzin. Fritzin with the disconnection, Dovzan with the broken front ring. Got to say that 3rd place in the championship for Shizou is probably now slipping away with Intrepid as things stand. Possibly, you know, going to be scoring another 10 points, getting away from them. It'll still be very doable going into the final race of the season, but I think they'd have wanted to be a tiny bit closer and still really in the battle, as we have got a yellow flag. Not sure who that is for. I'm not sure whether Dovzan's just had a bit of a moment somewhere and got a bit slow on the straight. But thankfully, everyone does seem to be able to continue, and we don't seem to be having any issues as a game. Fazzy! My goodness me! You've got to be careful around the curbs on this circuit, otherwise you can very easily look like a bit of a fool. And this is an interesting pit stop. This is very early on, as Fritzin and Ayub Khan actually go side by side down the straight. Fritzin gets that move done. Nicholas Lindberg has also followed through as well. Eduardo Gil into the pits for a set of soft tyres. He's only done 16 on the mediums. He's got to get 16 on the softs. It's bold from ET8. It's certainly worth trying something different given the championship situation that they're in at the moment. I'm not sure it's really what they'd have wanted to do at the moment. That is a bold call from ET8 to pit Eduardo that early on. I think he's going to suffer big style at the end. Gap to the leaders then. Main one of the leaders that has come into the... Well, the only one you could really say of that lead pack that has come into the pits, Nicola Flindberg, is now 21.4 seconds off the lead. You need 26, 27 for the pit stop around here, so he should be comfortably in the lead of this race. That's who says he needs to be battling for the lead to have some fun. Yona Martins, Gregory Belatti, and QKS, all with their own issues, as now we're seeing Marcus Towler coming into the pits early. This seems to be a thing from ET8 to get rid of those medium tyres early on and go on towards a set of softs. Now, whether that's going to cause a chain reaction in the field or we're going to see some others dive into the pits, but wait and see. There goes Lindberg flying by. Towler's going to be a long way down the field here. He's going to drop behind RJW. Should be ahead of Alberto Barros, although Barros is going to be coming just around that corner now with some lightning pace, but still Towler is able to be clear. I can't see you getting 15 laps out of these soft tyres and then being any good at the end. I could be completely wrong. I could be chatting absolute rubbish. It's been known to happen. But I'm not sure that is the strategy you want to be on at this moment in time. I think you want to take those mediums. Really, the earliest I think you want to be coming in is lap 19. To be comfortable towards the end. Whether Dempsey and Fassi think they had enough of a lead that they can afford to just wait a few laps before reacting, we'll find out now whether any of them come into the pits. Dempsey, is he diving in? No, he stays out, as does Ismail Fassi. And I think, again, we have got a slow-moving car. And that is Yone Dobson as Barros now gets his first time penalty of the day. And Jay Vahake, he is the one who comes into the pits. So, Intrepid going for a similar strategy to ET8 here. Not quite as adventurous and as bold. We also see one of the Skyzer drivers of Santana coming in, of course, getting rid of his medium tyres. So that looked like a pretty decent battle that just came flashing past the pit box there. Hoffy versus Fritzin. Hoffy stays behind for now. Fritzin obviously trying to work his way up the order after the issues earlier on. Didn't get any damage. Eduardo Gil, fastest lap of the race. A reminder of the point system. It's identical to what they use in real Formula 1. And that includes the fastest lap point. Finish in the top 10 and you get the fastest lap. That is the 1 point for yourself. I think we're probably going to see Dempsey, Fassi, or someone who pits a bit later on get that fastest lap point. Or we could see someone a long way down the order come in and pit to steal it off another one of the cars, even though they will not get it themselves. Ayub Khan's now coming to the pits. He has put the set of soft tyres on. And I don't think we could be too far away from our leaders coming in. Dempsey still with plenty of ERS at the moment, which suggests he's going to be staying out. And I thought on that lap, don't know why I had this feeling, I thought that was going to be the lap. Fassi was going to come into the pits and put on a set of soft tyres and just go for an undercut here. But he's clearly not feeling too comfortable with that one. Kango Con wanting to undercut Matteo De Campo, clearly thinking he's still got a chance to get himself and Excel their first podium of the season. Soft tyres going on. They'll drop a long way behind Towler and Rahage. I would expect it to come out in and around this battle that we're seeing on your screen now between Carlman and Alberto Barros. DRS open on the Alpine. And this should be a straightforward overtake indeed. As easy as you like. You're just going to see Kango Kong coming out the pits. Is he going to manage to come out ahead of Noel Carlman? It's going to be mighty close. The Alpine's got the speed. And that is Carlman in towards 10th place. And the Alpine into the top 10. Kango Con unable to fight back at the moment. And he's got Eduardo Gil not far behind him. Alberto Barros as well. Shouldn't have to worry too much about Barros on those mediums, who is now going to find things difficult down the order. But Intrepid getting both of their cars into points for now. Vahage in 9th. Carlman in 10th. In the lead, though, it is Dempsey and Fassi making their way round. And in this lap comes Dempsey. And Fassi, I think, realising he's got to do something different, stays out there. Into the pits then comes our race leader, Drake Dempsey, in towards the pits on a set of the soft tyres going on for him. Seeing there Matteo De Campo coming in as well. Now, where is Dempsey going to come out relative to Marcus Towler? Because this I think he is going to be just well enough clear that he shouldn't have to worry too much, although this is a very long pit lane. And this is where it tricks you. This pit lane really does start to cause some issues. There's the Mercedes coming out now. Isma might end up being behind Marcus. Well, watch out for that one when the race leader comes into the pits. But Isma could drop behind the McLaren. That could be a very spicy end to this race for two championship rivals, Mercedes versus McLaren. We've seen plenty of partnerships between them in real life. We'll see how this battle between the two of them ends out. It is now, though, a 1-2 for FBR. Fazzy leading from Lindberg. But Fazzy is the only driver, apart from QKS and Martins further down the field, as Eduardo Hill picks up another 3-second time penalty. That now puts him... just check there, that is actually his first, I do apologise. He's had 3 seconds, as is Lindberg, Barros, Rodriguez and Fritzin. We've got there 5 seconds for RJW videos for speeding into the pit lane. Just see how hard he's pushing that car at the moment, Towler, to try to get within range of Dempsey. Because I think he knows that, although I say that, Fazzy's carried on another lap here. Fazzy's clearly not confident on those soft tyres lasting a long way in this race, and he's just going for something different, staying out a long way. Now, if there's a safety car for whatever reason, he's going to be laughing, and I think a lot of people might be calling a fix. If there's no safety car, then he's going to drop behind Towler. Surely he's going to drop behind that 4th place man as RJW gets up another penalty. Don't think we'll be seeing any points for him at the moment. I'd say it's Dempsey's to lose as things stand at the moment. He's 2.5 seconds ahead of Marcus Towler. Fazzy's not going to be a problem because of him going longer on the tyres. He's almost within the penalty range of Nicola Flindberg, and those softs are going to be so much better at that point of the race. He came out of the pits about 5.5 seconds behind. He's now 3.5. He only needs to gain another half a tenth. He's back within a fantastic chance. We've got some great battling further back between Barros and Santana. It's going to be a straight race. Drag race between the Alfa Romeo and the Williams. And the Williams has just got so much more grip. That is Santana up towards 10th. As finally, our race leader does come into the pits then. Ismail Fassi at the end of lap number 22. In towards the pits from the lead. Red walled Pirelli soft tyres going on. Replacing the yellow walled worn Pirelli tyres. Thankfully, that was the game, making it look like a slow exit. Otherwise, that would have been a bit of a cause for concern. He loses the lead to his teammate. Not that he'll be too bothered. Drake Dempsey sets the fastest lap of the race. I think we're just going to see Marcus Towler here be well clear of the Alpha Tauri. Waves goodbye. Not close whatsoever. Marcus Towler is up into 3rd place in this race. Fazzy is in 4th. It is still good enough at the moment for FVR to take this championship. They are still in the box seat with 10 to go to be the first ever TTG Invitational champions. There's still plenty of time though for that to change. Quite a spread out field means we're not getting as many end of race battles as you would ideally like to see. One that could start to brew though. Kango Con has got ahead of Noel Coleman, and Matteo De Campo not too far behind, and he is on a fresher set of the soft tyres than both of these. So Coleman went early, as did Rahage. We saw obviously Giel and Marcus Towler went exceptionally early off their sets of the medium tyres. I'm still not 100% sure that was the thing to do, and I think it is going to cause them problems. And already Towler's dropped back from Dempsey. It's dropping into the clutches of Ismail Fazzy, and that could be, this could be curtains. This could be game, set and match for the championship right here with 9 laps to go in the penultimate race of the season. Here comes Ismail Fazzy, DRS open on that Alpha Tauri. Marcus Towler is going to try and defend, but I'm not sure he'll be able to do anything to just stop the power of the slipstream of the DRS round the outside, ahead before the braking zone. Thank you very much, says Fazzy. And that is the Spaniard up towards the top 3. Now he goes chasing after Drake Dempsey. 3.5 seconds is that gap for what is effectively the race lead here. Lindberg is now dropped behind Dempsey because of that 3-second penalty. We'll see if he can get it removed later on. But he is still on for... he's definitely still on for a podium at the moment. So wouldn't write him off yet. There's plenty of battles further down. For the CRV team, Maestro Hoffy gets ahead of TTG's AM Khan. And that is 14th place now for Maestro. CRV, for disconnection for QKS, leaving the session. You know, the qualifying penalty were making things harsh. It's just not worked out for them in this race. They're going through some, I think, well-documented changes at the moment, with the PlayStation side being quite abruptly, I think it's fair to say, closed down focusing their efforts on other games, on other platforms as well, and F1 on the PC is one they're focusing on. And we'll just have to wait to see whether they are able to make anything of this. This could get interesting at the front line. Lindberg's now ahead of Dempsey. He's got no ERS, he's got no DRS. I don't think he's got any chance of keeping Dempsey behind him. If he could just hold him up, though, for a few corners, you never know. You never know what could happen here. If he could just hold Dempsey up for a couple of corners, I'd say he's got an opportunity of helping his teammate out. Fazzy set the fastest lap of the race last time around. You can see now 1:14.8. The only driver to get into the 1:14s at the moment. That shows what kind of pace the young man has got. And he is closing onto the back of this battle. He's almost within penalty range of his teammate, which, you know, is inconsequential to the championship situation. ET8 need to score, well, FER need to outscore ET8 by 4 points at the moment to take the championship. They're in first and fourth, ET8 first and third, ET8 are in fourth and 10th. You know, I think first and fourth's the best FER, well, I could hope for, possibly second and fourth. Third and 10th will not be enough. They're going to have to really hope ET8 for some issues for FER. They could have one issue coming up soon, though. Drake Dempsey is about to breeze past Nicola Flindberg as if he stood still in the Alpha Towler. Red light flashing, no DRS. Goodbye, thank you very much. Behind before we even get to the start lights, really. And that just shows you how straightforward and how powerful the DRS is around here. And this should be a very relaxing final 7 laps of the race for Drake Dempsey. I'm not sure Nicolas Lindberg can really do a lot to stop him driving off into the distance. And we've seen this in Formula 1 so many times over the years. We've not seen it in this championship. WOR haven't really been up there towards the top too often. They had a qualifying ban last time out and Jonas Martins shot himself off the field, getting a top 5 finish. He's off the back of the order. And they're bookending the field as Drake Dempsey. It will be their first podium. It looks very likely that it is going to be their first win as well. And a brilliant way to sort of just announce themselves a bit more on this PC platform. They've got some very good drivers, and they are showing that in this race. Drake Dempsey 2.3 seconds ahead of the next car he has to worry about, which of course is Ismail Fassi driving for our champions-elect FER. Still this battle going on for 6th, 7th and 8th. Coleman, on those older tyres, isn't able to get close enough to Kango Con, and I think him having the DRS is certainly helping him keep safe from Matteo De Campo behind. Matteo just not really able to get close enough, not really able to do anything at the moment. We'll see DRS open on the back of both of those cars. He's got a bit more DRS, he's got a bit more VRS. Just sits in the train. And this is going to be the story, I think, of the final few laps. Barring any punctures, barring any mistakes. We'll check what the penalty situation is now, as a few more drivers have got them. RJW on 8, Maestro Hoffy on 3. Hugo Rodriguez has also got 3 seconds. And Eduardo Hill needs to be careful that he doesn't pick up another penalty. Needs to be careful he doesn't pick up a puncture. That tiny bit of hope that ET8 have got would just be extinguished even more, I fear. But 5 to go at the end of this one. Dempsey, the gap is coming down though between himself and Fazzy. Ismail certainly working those soft tyres hard at the moment. I think deciding, you know, if we're going to go for this, I might as well try something a bit different. Stayed out a couple of laps longer. Knew he was going to lose it on the undercut anyway. But decided just stay out that couple laps longer. Give me a big tyre advantage at the end. And then we'll see if I can drag myself up. And this DRS is going to be a massive hand indeed. 1.7 seconds was the gap at the start of the straight. It is going to be about 1.3, 1.4 as they turn in towards Tamburello. And you can see there, 1.283. He's gained nearly half a second in one straight alone as things just go bad to worse for Yerne Dovzan. Spinning it round, coming out of Tozer, drops down towards 19th. A race which has promised so much for Shizou, unfortunately, is going to deliver so little. Thank you to all the followers we've had today. Danny, Noah, Carter, Bailey, Thomas Ronhar, Lewis Welsh, Bryn, Yannick, J.O. We're very lucky to keep that one out of the wall there. Was Yerne Dovzan, JMFD and Dimitri Minich. Thank you so much everyone to follow. If you're watching and you think you like the sound of this, make sure to keep an eye on the TTG channel. There will be the final round next time out at Brazil. And that should definitely be a fascinating round indeed. And we're going to have a fascinating final 4 trips around this circuit. Although this is interesting. Very intriguing indeed. Jona Martens decides he's not having any of that. I was about to say Jona is just ahead of his teammate and could give him DRS for quite a few laps around here. And I think realising that that would instantly be a complaint from FBR, he ain't got time for that. He's just going to let his teammate go. Did give him the DRS. Although Ismo was able to stay in and around that 1 second point as Jona retires from the race, our first. And hopefully, with 4 laps to go, last retirement. But this is the big battle now. Ismail Fassi, can he get within 1 second of Drake Dempsey? Can he get back within that DRS range? And can he claim the championship with a victory for FBR? It looks like Nicola Flindberg is just doing enough on those mediums if it wasn't for that penalty. Who knows how hard he'd have been able to fight. But it looks as though Lindberg's doing enough to get 3rd at the moment. So yeah, this is a great job from FBR. 2nd and 3rd on those different strategies, which covered them for every eventuality. And there we go, Marcus Towler's got a penalty. I think that just seals the deal. That is very close between De Campo and Carlman. Big mistake from Carlman through Piratella. And De Campo finally gets that move done. Up into 7th. Now can he work his way past Kango Con? And these two are catching up to Jay Hage at some rate of knots as well, as that's a spinner. I think that is again Yene Dovzan now facing in the wrong direction. QKS is into the pits after 28 laps. He just thought, I'll stay out as long as possible and hope for a safety car, and who can blame him? He's now gone on softs toward the end of the race, and Fazzy has got close enough. He's used all his ERS to close that gap. He is within 4/10 of a second with 3 laps to go, and he's got the fresher tyres. But is that lack of straight line speed just going to prove to be the decisive factor in what has been a bit of a slow burner this Imola Grand Prix? I'm going to be honest, it's been clear these 3, Dempsey, Fazzy and Lindberg, as soon as we had that incident that sent Dovzan and Fritzin and Martens down the order, these 3 were the ones going to be deciding the victory of this race, and it looked like it was in Dempsey's hands. All of a sudden, it's not so certain for the... Oh, Hoffy's retired from the race in the pits. That's a bit of a surpriser. Maestro Hoffy retires from the race, but it's not looking as certain for Drake Dempsey that he wins this race. He has got a bit more VRS than the car behind him. He's looking a bit more wobbly on those rear tyres, which I think is understandable given the extra laps that they've put in. This could be a scintillating final 2 laps, folks. I would not go anywhere yet. We've also got the battle for 5th place happening as well, as I think that is Yerne just slowing down, getting well out of the way of all of these lap cars. Here's the view back from Dempsey as he goes on to the penultimate lap of this race. Gregory Belatti, he retires in the pits. They are dropping like flies at the moment, and you can just see as soon as that ERS starts to run out on Fessie's car, he's not able to get close enough to Dempsey. So I'm not sure he can do it in a straight line. I think he needs to find somewhere else where he can get this move done. Kango Con can do it in a straight line, and Matteo De Campo is going to follow through as well. 2 places lost in the space of 1 corner there for Java Hargay. I think we're starting to see those soft tyres, those runners that pitted earlier on, are now really starting to struggle. Jay's dropped down towards 7th place. We've had, I mean, that was just a driver leaving the session. Noel Carlman's now on the back of him as well, although Marcus Towler's almost within that magical 3-second window of Nicola Flindberg, so he's certainly doing a better job on his tyres. Ding dong, we have got one hell of a battle here for the final few places. Who's going to take the victory? Who's going to take the podium? Who is going to take 5th place? Answers coming in about 90 seconds time, folks. Hugo Rodriguez comes into the pits. Clearly just going for a final fastest lap run. Clearly just seeing what he can do. But here is Ismail Fassi on the back of Drake Dempsey. ERS on, both of them running low. And this is the closest he's been. This is the first time we've really seen him get close to making a move. Can he make it from the outside into Tamburello? Ahead before the braking zone. And Ismail Fassi takes the lead of the race with 1 lap to go. Can he hold on to this though? Or will Drake Dempsey just have 1 more sting in the tail? Has he got anything left in his tyres to try and fight back? Further back, De Campo gets the move done on Kango Con. He's now moving towards 5th place. And Java Hargay's all over the back of the Haas car, but nothing doing for him in towards Villeneuve. That is not really an overtaking opportunity. I think Jay, young as he is, as wise as he is, knows that that was not going to work and knows he just has to give up on that one. Has Dempsey given up? Is there anywhere he can get this move done? He's not close enough into Variante Bassa, so it is all about getting a better exit than the car in front. Fassi has a bit of a wobble there, but that is still a reasonable run from the Alpha Tauri. Can Dempsey do anything on the brakes into the Frivatsa? He can't indeed. He's trying as he might to get onto the back of Ismail Fassi. It is not going to be work. It is a win for Fassi. It is a championship for FBR here in the TTG Invitational. Fassi takes the win. FBR take the title. It's a second place for Drake Dempsey. And Nicola Flindberg makes it both FBR drivers home on the podium. Marcus Towler, try as he might, finishes in 4th place. And there is all sorts of carnage happening towards the finish line. But the big story today, with 1 round to spare, FBR take the TTG Invitational title. I mean, they tried as they might, the others. They tried as they might, but all season long, I don't think there has really been any doubt as to which driver has been, well, which team has been the most consistent. Who knows if it wasn't for that disconnection with the wheel last time out for George Nadir at Saudi Arabia, things would be very different indeed. But they did disconnect, that did happen. And it's such a shame that that was the case. Obviously, after this race, we will try and hear from both our top few drivers and see how things are going. Yeah, I think it's safe to say they're pretty happy with that one down at FER, judging by some of the comments coming in the chat. Noel Coleman gets drive of the day after what was a supreme performance, working his way up through the field after that grid penalty for Intrepid. But there's the main man. Thankfully, his moves on circuit were a bit better than his dancing. Fassi takes his first win of the season. It's the second win for FBR after Nardi Perez at round number 1. WOR getting their best result of the season. And it's the second race in a row where both FBR cars have got on the podium, with Nicola Lindberg finishing in 2nd place then. The rest of the podium places sees Marcus Towler, well, the rest of the point scoring places, I should say, sees Marcus Towler finishing in 4th. Mateo de Campa in 5th. Kango Con makes it 3-point scores in a row. He is in 6th. Java Harkey, Noel Coleman, Alex Sanchez and Eduardo Gil round out the points. Ayub Khan just missing out on his debut in 11th, as did Alberto Barros. Then it was RJW Videos, Fritzin, Hugo Rodriguez, QKS, Yerne Dobzan, Maestro Hoffman, and then we saw obviously Gregory Belletti and Yona Martins retire in the pits after what was an interesting, intriguing, difficult race, I think a lot of these drivers would say. Not quite as smooth sailing as some of them would have liked, but that is that's sometimes the way the cookie crumbles in motor racing. We are going to try and get our front 3 drivers there in for an interview. Hopefully we'll be able to invite them in and wait and see what these drivers were doing. I think now that this championship over, a lot of them might not bother racing so much for the final race. Hopefully we see a lot of drivers here for the hopefully we do see a lot of drivers coming in for the final race next time out. It would be obviously great to see as many people here as possible for the final race. Brazil, as I'm sure is showing up on your screen around about now, is quite a good track and one that is certainly enjoyed by myself, and certainly it's an enjoyable one to commentate on, and hopefully it will be an enjoyable race. Hopefully that was an enjoyable race as well. I think calling it a slow burner is definitely not being too harsh on that, as we have got one of the drivers waiting in the waiting room, so let's drag him into the commentary box. Drake Dempsey, congratulations on 2nd place. So close though to getting WOR's first victory of this championship.
Yeah, I'm not happy at all with the ERS. It's just unfortunate I couldn't do anything. Turn 1 is going to be different next game.
Yeah, we'll certainly be quite different. I mean, tell us about the first stint of that race, because you seem to have great pace. Yourself and Isma and Nicholas fighting quite hard. Isma seemed reluctant though early on to let you have the lead. To take the lead himself. Do you think that is obviously because of how powerful the slipstream and losing ERS is on this circuit?
It's a joke, honestly. How you can gain 6/10 in DRS and gain 0 ERS. I think in real life they would gain at least 2% a lap at Imola, at Portimao, at Mexico, but you know what, there's nothing we can do about the fundamentals. I just hope that next game it's improved how there's more gain. And I mean, seems like on most of the new tracks, Imola, Portimao, there's absolutely no ERS to be gained. Once you use it and you don't have and you're not in a DRS, if you're leading and you use your ERS, zip, that's it for the race. No more getting that back. It's lost.
Yeah, certainly a shame for yourself, but still a good result and a fantastic qualifying lap for yourself. Do you think you'd have preferred it if we used the weather from the original session and we'd have had some rain for the race?
No question about it. Yep, I was trying to get it. I don't see the point if it's in the lobby, the original lobby, wet. I believe it should be brought over because, well, I think the first settings should be applied and not just given false hope. But I mean, I like the wet a lot, and I always have, but it's just, I mean, throughout the race there's some decent guys. I mean, my teammate Neon, from my stream, he was X'd out of the lobby, and then like 10 laps before the end, 5 laps before the end, he finally appeared on where he was, actually, but very laggy at that, so it's unfortunate. Nothing we could do about that, but I just think it could have been better, everything in that race.
Yeah, still obviously, imagine happy with your pace. Obviously we don't know if you'll be racing at Brazil, but if you are, is that a circuit where you're confident you can possibly go one better and take that win?
I have done so much Brazil recently, I would be very confident I could win, but I'm unfortunately not going to be racing. I'll be going on vacation next week, most likely.
Oh well, enjoy your holiday, Drake, and we'll let you head off.
Yeah, a few more races for me on this game and then done. I've already set the date to uninstall it.
Getting the space ready for 2022, no doubt. Congratulations on the podium today, though, Drake, and we'll let you head off.
Yep, thank you. I mean, pace was good, so we just learn from it and move on and do better. Yep,
Yeah,
thank you for
that is certainly the aim. So thanks to Drake for joining us. I don't believe we are, unfortunately, getting anyone from FER. I was hoping to speak to one of the drivers and possibly their manager as well, but they're probably too busy sinking down some sangria after that race, and it was certainly a fantastic result for them. So we're going to be heading off now. Next week, as you can see there, 9 PM CET, 11th of June, so 8 PM Great Britain time, BST for the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache for the Brazilian Grand Prix. FBR have secured the title. Can they go out on a high? For myself, Luke Etheridge, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next time around. Goodbye.